Now we're going to look at example 2 and the solve by factoring notes. Example 2 is a little bit different. There is a number in front of the x squared. We have a 6 there. So we are going to look for a GCF, a greatest common factor. What we're looking for is the largest number that we can divide into 6, 9, and 60. And that number is 3. 3 can go into all of those. So I'm going to factor out that 3. And to do that, I'm going to divide each term by 3. So when I do that, I'm left with, well, 6 divided by 3 is 2x squared. My plus sign, 9 divided by 3 is 3x. Got my minus sign, 60 divided by 3 is 20. So by doing this, I'm going to name my A, B, and C from the parentheses, and they're going to be smaller numbers, which will be a lot easier to work with. My A is the 2, my B is 3, and my C is negative 20. So here's where you'll see the difference. We're going to come down here and do A times C, and my A times C is 2 times negative 20. That's negative 40. A lot smaller than if we would have done 6 times negative 60. That would have been negative 360, and we don't want to work with a number that large. So I'm going to come back here and make my list of factors that multiply to be negative 40. When you're multiplying, one number needs to be negative. So I've got negative 1 and 40, positive 1 and negative 40, and I'm looking for the pair of numbers that not only multiply to be negative 40, but when I add them, they equal 3. I can do negative 2 times 20 and positive 2 times negative 20. 3 does not go into 40, but 4 does. I can do negative 4 times 10 or positive 4 times negative 10. And I can also do 5 can go into 40, so negative 5 times 8 and positive 5 times negative 8. So as I look at these numbers, I need to find the pair that add up to be positive 3, and that is going to be negative 5 and 8. When I multiply those two numbers together, they equal negative 40, but when I add them, they equal positive 3, and that's what my B is. So my pair of factors are negative 5 and 8. So now I'm going to make my tic-tac-toe box. So this process is the same as the other column. The only difference is we factored out a GCF and our A is not 1. So here's my tic-tac-toe box. In the middle, I have ax squared. My A was 2, so I'm putting in 2x squared. My C goes here. Our C is negative 20. And then these factors that I picked, they're going to go right here, and they each need to have an x next to them. It doesn't matter which one you put in which box. As long as these numbers are here with x's, it will work. So I'm going to start here and look for my GCF to pull out. I need to find the largest number that goes into 2 and 8. I'm going to try 2. 2 can go into 2, and can 2 divide into 8? It sure can. So 2 is a GCF, and they have one x in common. Now I'm going to go to this row. What's the largest number that you can divide into 5 and 20? Well, I'm going to check my 5. 5 goes into 5, and it goes into 20. So I can pull out that 5, because the first thing I see is a negative. It's going to be a negative 5. Now I'm going to go this way. There's definitely one x in common. The only things that can go into 2 are 2 and 1, but 2 cannot divide into 5, so that means that it's just a 1. You can put it in front, but you don't have to. And then now I'm going to come to this last row. 8 cannot go into 20, so I need to try something smaller. I'm going to try 4. 4 can go into 8, and 4 can also go into 20, so I can pull out a 4. So this means that my factors are 2x minus 5 and x plus 4. And I'm going to write them out down here in parentheses. So those are my factors, and I'm going to set them equal to 0 to solve. And I'm just going to get x by itself. So here, because it's a minus 5, I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and I have 2x equals 5. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. These 2's cancel out, and I'm left with x equals 5/2. You do not need to put it as a decimal. You can just leave it like that as a fraction. And over here, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and I'm left with x equals -4.